Hey everybody, today I'm here to review three books that have recently came out in paperback that you can get your hands on as we speak. Three books I really enjoyed that I need to make sure are on your TBR. So let's get started. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you all doing today? As always, I hope you're happy, I hope you're healthy, I hope you're safe, and of course I hope you're reading an amazing book or two or three or four. And here I am today to add to that list of amazing books. I know I did a video not that long ago where I talked about a stack of paperback books that were sent my way, and I had not done that in quite some time. Well, because I've been traveling so much, paperbacks have been easier for me to take, and I've read a few of them, and I want to tell you about three that have really stood out. So get out your pen, get out your paper, get out your Goodreads, however you keep track of your TBR. If you are so able, please get these books from your local independent bookstore or get your library to get you a copy as soon as possible. The first book I want to tell you about is Lorrie Moore's I Am Homeless If This Is Not My Home. It was the winner of the National Book Critics Circle for Fiction. This was sent to me by, I think all of these were sent to me by Vintage. And I want to tell you, this book came to me as an ARC and I started it and I was like, I don't get it. And then it came to me as a paperback and I was like, you know what? It won this award. I'm going to give it another go. And y'all, I need to stop reading books when I'm like figuring it out, because this book was fantastic. Weird, not going to be for everyone, but I absolutely loved it. So our main character is a visiting teacher. He's having some trouble at his work, but he goes to visit his dying brother. And while he is there with his dying brother, he gets a call about this woman. Now, this woman is sort of like the love of his life. And I say sort of, and she really is. But they haven't been together as a couple, but they've always had this connection. And she has had a lot of mental health issues. And he gets this call that she is not doing well. So he actually gets in his car. His brother now is very, very ill, and it's unknown whether or not he will make it. But he drives to see if he can help this woman. But unfortunately, when he gets there, she has already passed away. And he is visited by her ghost with this idea of where to take her body. And he steals her body to take it somewhere. And while he's doing that, he's having conversations with her where he sort of analyzes everything about himself and the relationship he has with her, with his brother, with the world in and of itself. Okay. Now, on the other end of this book, there is this mysterious journal that we're reading that's from the 19th century, from this boarding house of this woman who is talking about this eccentric man who lives in the house, that he's an actor and that he's sort of courting her. And we later learn out that the actor is someone very important in history in the 19th century. I'm not going to spoil it, because as that aha moment happened for me, it really added to the depth of this book. Do I understand how all of these pieces came together? No. But I really enjoyed how she told the story, how all of these pieces sort of mirrored each other in a lot of ways, and really the story of this man coming to terms with loss, family, the future, the past, and everything about himself. So I highly recommend I Am Homeless If This Is Not My Home by Lorrie Moore. I also think that statement, that sentence, is just about perfect. I am homeless if this is not my home. Powerful stuff. Highly recommend. So now I'm going to talk to you about two thriller / mystery sort of things. The first I want to talk to you about is Monsters We Have Made by Lindsay Starck. And let me tell you, this was one of the ones that came. I was like, you know what, I'll just pick it up. Started reading 3 pages on a Saturday and did not stop until I was done on Sunday. It is so good. This is the story of Sylvia Gray. Now, Sylvia Gray, 13 years ago, her daughter was convicted of an attack. Her and her friend attacked their babysitter and stabbed her in the forest, saying that they were told to do so by this being called the King Man. The King Man is sort of like this folkloric horror symbol that as the book goes on, you find out is sort of integrated society in different ways. Now it's 13 years later, and there's a knock on her door, and Sylvia is given her daughter's child because her daughter Faye has gone missing. And as Sylvia starts to think about this, the Kingman, this horror thing, is started to appear again in the news, and she wants to go and figure out what happened with her daughter. And in doing so, she has to reconnect with her ex-husband, their lives fell apart when their daughter was convicted of this crime. And they were never able to sort of keep it all together, and they've been sort of estranged. I want to say he was a dentist. I apologize if that's not right. Or maybe he was an optometrist. That's right. He was an optometrist. He sold his practice, moved to the mountains, and sort of like got away from it all. But he does come down to help his granddaughter, and their relationship takes off as Sylvia starts to dive into the mystery of where her daughter was, who her daughter is now, and what her daughter's trying to do. This book took turns and twists I didn't expect to see happening. I thought the mystery was really cool. I thought all of it was very interesting. I really enjoyed it. A perfect summer read. So, Monsters We Have Made by Lindsay Starck, out from Vintage. Highly recommend. The last book I'm going to tell you about is actually a book that my husband and I read together. He listened to the audio, so he definitely recommends that. And I read Clemence Michallon, The Quiet Tenant, and that was a terrible French attempt at her name. But I will tell you to read her book because it's really, really good. It is your quintessential thriller. Our main character is a young woman that is being held at the start of the book in a cabin by a man who we find out is a serial killer. But for some reason, he has kept her alive for a lot of years. Now, his wife has just died and he's being forced to move, and she convinces him to take her with him. And in that, there's no longer this cabin, so she becomes part of the household. She meets his daughter, and we learn a lot about the dynamics of this family, and she having to play a role as she tries to figure out how she can escape and finally get back to her life. There are flashbacks to the other women this man has attacked. There's a new relationship that our main character, who is like described in the beginning as the woman in the cabin, and then she's like the woman in the room. It works, trust me. The serial killer is like he's like loved about town, by the way, and he is starting a new relationship with a young woman. Our main character recognizes what this is and where this is going, and trying to figure out all those pieces. It is really good. It is just a solid thriller, like, please, how can we help this woman? All of that kind of stuff. Really enjoyed it. So that's The Quiet Tenant by Clemence Michallon. And again, all of these were sent to me by Vintage, and they are all amazing. So let me hold on. I can do this actually. Right there. 3 paperback books I highly recommend you get your hands on. If you're a return subscriber, thank you so much. I could not do this without you. If you are new to my channel, please hit subscribe and stick around. As always, I encourage you to read globally, shop locally, and until next time, I wish you happy reading. Bye, everyone.